I feel like I'm hitting in the lead-off position right after the keynote, which is great. We have a nice crowd. Can everybody hear me okay out there? Good audio? Okay, good. Well, today you're joining us to take a peek into the question, can technology solve HR's problems? How many of you have HR problems that technology you're trying to solve with technology? Everybody. So that's an easy question. So we're going to take a look into the past of HR technology and a peek into the short-term future as well in this presentation. We have about 15 minutes to do that. My name, we may have to go old school here. My name is Bill Inman. I have 18 years experience building, implementing technology, raising money for technology companies, and done everything from the gamut from ERP implementations to applicant tracking build-outs and so forth. And I'm currently the founder and CEO of PeopleLoop. PeopleLoop is connecting through our proprietary cloud-based platform the world's independent recruiters and freelance recruiters, kind of like Uber for transportation and Airbnb for travel, in order to disrupt the traditional temporary and contract labor model. If you want to know more about me, and definitely please connect with me if you feel compelled to, at my LinkedIn address. And before we jump into the presentation, I want to talk about a couple cool things we're going to be doing. Some of you noticed this eyeball here. We're going to be filming the presentation in 360-degree video. If you have virtual reality, I'm going to have one here, and you know what that looks like. And it's going to be available about 4 p.m. today at that link. So if you want to go to that link later, you haven't seen 360-degree video, and you haven't experienced virtual reality, it's amazing. I'm sure it'll be a big part of HR technology in the future, probably used for trainings and things like that. Second of all, we received some great research support for this presentation from the PeopleLoop's partner, CareerBuilder. And CareerBuilder has also graciously donated some gift cards to give away at the end of the presentation. So we have Rick Michka here from CareerBuilder and Jeff Chow from PeopleLoop. If you want to drop your business card in the fishbowl or just pass it down the aisle, we're going to give away $100 in Best Buy gift cards at the end of this. Additionally, on Wednesday, you can go to that link, you could put your name and email address, and you could have a second chance at another drawing we're going to do on Wednesday as well. Lastly, as I said, we're going to take you through a brief history of HR technology and a short-term future. So I needed a reason to keep these things in my garage. I brought my Mac Plus. I'll explain that when we get there. I have an iPod and I have a virtual reality headset. So if you want to come take a look at that stuff, probably all of you have seen that stuff. Maybe some of you have never seen a Mac Plus, but I needed a reason to get it out of the garage. I've been keeping it for 30 years. So let's jump in. Okay, let's start with today's big business challenges. Business is evolving more rapidly than ever before, as we all know. The big business challenges today include digital disruption, globalization, redefined business models, talent wars, and regulatory compliance, to name a few. Now, our business leaders, our CEOs, they are now looking to HR more than ever for solutions. And they're looking to HR to help grow the business. And they're looking to HR for key data. So we're going to talk about that in this presentation. Again, we're going to take a look at the past of HR technology. And remember the question, can technology solve HR's problems? That's what we're evaluating here. So let's pose a big question first. Is there a future where there are no HR problems, where technology simply just takes care of us? Unless we live in the world of WALL-E, where technology caters to our every need and allows us to sit in our automated easy chair and lean back and watch virtual reality, we're not there yet, right? We're not in that world. Although I have an easy chair at home, I have the virtual reality, NFL's coming on Sundays, I'll probably look like that, I'm sure. Second scenario, where technology can solve all of HR problems. Unfortunately, we're not there, although Elon Musk and Stephen Hawking and other people have alluded to the dangers of it, is the Terminator scenario. So those are, as far as I'm concerned, those are the only two technology solutions that can solve every single HR problem. So fortunately, we're not there at either one. So again, we're going to take a look at HR tech's past and HR tech's future, and we're going to evaluate what all these things that we've implemented over the decades, did they pay off? What were they for? What was the evolution of HR technology as well? We're going to do that all in 10 minutes. We're going to start in the 1980s, in the era of Michael Jackson and E.T., and since we're in Los Angeles, Fernando Valenzuela. So how many people remember Fernando Valenzuela? Okay, you're probably from Los Angeles. That was an obscure reference. Now, the lessons that we're going to learn from technology are going to be brought to us by these pop culture icons through every decade leading up today. So I'm warning you, and I have a very dry sense of humor, so forgive me in advance. But in the 80s, HR was called personnel administration. It was not an HR department. The job of this department was simply to process employee paperwork, process payroll, track benefits, and there were huge file cabinets. I'm in the business today because my mom was the vice president of HR way back when, and I remember going in on Sundays and her helping to rush checks to the owner of the business, a stock brokerage firm in LA's house, so we could sign them and get them off, and it was just a frenzy of paperwork. So in the 1980s, PCs became popular, obviously, right? And I brought, as I said, I brought one relic here, a Mac Plus, a 1 megabyte Mac Plus that's upgradable to 4 megabytes. It still works. Amazing. So PCs helped simplify HRIS. They allowed us to keep records and track personnel information inside of this new innovation, the PC. It also helped us automate payroll systems, and of course we've grown exponentially from there, being the Workday and Ultimate and the softwares of today. So it helped eliminate digital record keeping, benefits tracking, and headcount tracking. But what are the lessons we can learn and what we can take with us from the 1980s? Well, as Michael might have said in HR in the 1980s, employee paperwork needs to beat it. Just beat it. And the thing about the lesson that we can learn from that comment is employee paperwork was the big promise of PCs to eliminate that in the 1980s, but today we're still fighting that battle, right? We're still fighting the employee paperwork battle. So HR technology is great, and there's great promise to it, but even 30 years ago, the problem that we were trying to solve, we're still trying to solve today. It's only going to solve your problems temporarily. It's not going to solve everything, and you don't want to sell it like that to your executive team as well. As E.T. might say, I'm not going to do it in his voice. It'll be very hard. Now you have more time for HR management and to phone home, right? So what the lesson that we can learn from that is the promise of PCs was to give us more time to get out of the paperwork and payroll and to be able to manage people, because it was personnel administration in the 1980s. So technology freed up time. But what happens when our time gets freed? We immediately fill it with some other task, right? Like there's no end to this. So you can't count on HR technology to allow you to kind of take it easy and put your virtual reality headset on at work. Let's move to the 1980s, the age of the Titanic, Arsenio and Bill. And yes, that was, many of you saw Bill Clinton playing the saxophone, kind of like Ron Burgundy from Anchorman playing the flute. Now it became the HR department from personnel administration. Time was freed up in the 1980s, so now the HR professional, and truly became a professional in that decade, could focus their time on helping people and helping the company help people. So we had a technology explosion in the 1990s, and that's when I entered this industry. And the simplistic things we forget about, interactive phone systems, they weren't around until the 1990s. You couldn't transfer calls as effectively as you could until that decade. ERP systems, PeopleSoft and JD Edwards, were launched in that decade, and we obviously had there too. The big innovation that was just a baby then, the World Wide Web, was launched in the 1990s as well. And of course there was a frenzy to integrate that, and that created email, and that created job boards and job sites. So that was the big promise of the 1990s. That helped us create full HR workflows in one platform. But even today, ERPs are so complicated to use and implement nevertheless that problem still exists to automate that process. It also freed up HR management's time to, like personnel administration's time was freed up with technology in the 80s. Now in the 90s, time was freed up from HR management so we could do talent management and we could think proactively and not reactively. And that's when talent management originated. So as Arsenio might say, and we'll talk about the lesson in this technology, he might say, yes, give it up for job boards. Finding talent is faster than ever, and then he'd do a fist pump. Remember that way back when. And the thing about that is, that technology of job boards helped us find a new myriad options for finding candidates, but now what do? Now we have dozens of job sites and job boards that we have to manage. That technology made it more complex for us. So can technology solve HR's problems? Sure. That was helpful, but it also makes things more complicated. So we need to remember that when we're thinking about technology as well. And as Leo might have said at the front of the Titanic, our ERP implementation is big and unstoppable like this ship, right? The Titanic. And that's what ERP implementations are sometimes. It's a complete disaster at worst, but it's a real challenge, and companies are investing millions and tens of millions of dollars into these technologies in the 1990s. So what's the lesson here from ERPs? That complicated solutions can really not only suck your time and have, thank you, Jeff, suck your time, but also it can make things even more complicated than we anticipated. The 2000s. Now we have the era of Britney and the original reality star Paris Hilton, and also The Sopranos, which many of you love that show. And we moved to the era of talent management. The internet gained critical mass, data could now be shared across departments, and social was brought to life, which created a whole bunch of new personnel management problems for performance and where they're spending their time. But it allowed us to align our talent, to have integrated HR processes and have a steady and predictable stream of talent. And that's all been very helpful, and that's not too long ago. And as Paris might say about technology in the 2000s, employee intranets, that's hot. Well, we have to be careful about grabbing onto trends and spending money on trendy HR technology. That's the lesson to be learned here. We are flooded with options now for HR technology. So we need to be cognizant, is what we're implementing something we really need and really want? We want to spend money on it. And as Tony Soprano might say from his Twitter account, beginning in the 2000s, sharing data and social networks makes me nervous. So now in the 2000s, HR became responsible in many ways for security and data and private information. So the lessons learned here is our job in HR in the 2000s became way more complicated and way more vital. As we move to now in the future, and we're now in the era of Kanye and Taylor and superheroes, with a new superhero movie being launched about every other month, it's now our responsibility not to stay stuck in paperwork and ERP systems. We are responsible in human resources with this technology for strategic guidance. And we have that power. And it's our time and our turn to step up and leverage this technology to help the company and help others. So now we're in the era of HR strategic guidance right now. Cloud, mobile, big data. Cloud and mobile allow us to pull data from all over the place and put that together into big data to provide really great insights. Online video and now simple UIs, especially off apps, make technology finally user-friendly. And then the Internet of Things and virtual reality, those progressions will help push this whole model forward. Increased data value, better global communications, and new work models, right? Now you're going globally to find talent on places like Upwork or like PeopleLoop, where we're aggregating these workers, or with our partner Quill, that can pay contractors compliantly on a daily basis. We have completely new work models that we need to integrate and think about. And as Tony Stark could say now, in this era, Jarvis, show me the trends for my 10,000 employees and contractors. That's what technology is giving HR that power now. We've evolved from record keeping all the way up to this level. What seems to be pretty quick, but E.T. and Michael Jackson's prom picture was a long time ago. And then as Kanye might say, I'm going to let you implement, but cloud is the greatest HR tech of all time. There's so many hot things. Everything is the greatest HR tech of all time, so we need to be very selective about the technology we implement. We need to make sure we really need it. So, learning from the past, solving future problems. Yes, technology can, will, and has solved some of HR problems, but it's going to create new ones, so you need to keep that in mind. What's hot and expensive in HR technology today will be the standard and cheaper in the future. So be careful about investing too soon before something is mature enough to really get that value from it. And then HR tech saves us time, is insightful, and this is important, this is what the one thing that I would like for you all to get from this, it makes our job more strategic and more vital to the organization. It's now our responsibility to step up and leverage technology to help grow the business and protect the business. And this is a real quote finally, not one I made up. From the late great tech icon Steve Jobs. He said himself, technology is nothing. And he was the one who innovated from this device, right? I've got my old iPod 1 I pulled from the garage here, 40 gigabytes on a real hard drive. True innovator. He said technology is nothing. What's important is that you have faith in people, and that's why we're implementing technology, because we had the faith to hire them, we have faith in the CEO, and so does the investors and the shareholders and what have you. We're leveraging technology to prove that faith and to share the data from that too. So, thank you very much. Please feel free to connect with me. Please, Jeff, their business cards, anybody want to throw their business card? We're going to give a drawing for $100 in Best Buy gift cards right now. Please visit this PeopleLoop.com/CAHR16 website. at about 4 o'clock because we're going to have the virtual reality video showing there, and it's really cool. And if any of you want to experience virtual reality in person, I brought my headset. It's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. So thank you very much for your time. I guess we'll grab a card out of there. Rick, you ready to go? Anybody else want one last? And then you're going to have a second chance because we're going to do this by email on Wednesday too. So look for our email. And then you can just go to that website and put your first name, last name, and email in. And Wednesday we'll just do a digital version of this too. So, Rick, shall we? This is Rick Mishka. He's with our partner Career Builder, and he's also very adept at collecting cards. Go for it. Who do we have here?
One or two.
Just one. Now let's do two. Let's give one $100, one $50 one. We're feeling saucy, I guess.
All right.
Go ahead, Rick. Irma Kaysen, is that correct? Well, you were smiling the whole time, so I'm glad you got that. So $100 for you. And the second one?
John Redding.
John Redding. John, way back there. Way to get your card in from the cheap seats. Hey, thank you so much. Was this valuable? Was this just a reminder for us? Thank you so much. The presentation will be up on that if you want to see it again. Reach out to me. I want your feedback. I'd love to meet you and talk to you in person. Thanks a lot. Take care.